Hello, my name's Susan Hay Curtis and I'm going to show you how to do a fairly quick painting of Istanbul in the early morning light. 3 seagulls reflections, and I'm going to start off with wetting my sky. I've made a sketch which you could probably trace or copy. So make sure that your brush is clean, and then plenty of water onto the sky, going over the birds, around the minarets, almost down to the buildings. Plenty of water. As you can see, there's a nice sheen on here, which will mean that the sky should blend in nicely. So the first thing I'm going to put on is some lemon yellow. So lemon yellow to a tea consistency, and I'm going to have the yellow over this side going over that way, so over the seagulls towards and at the same time you can wet the sea there. I should have said this before, but wet the sea, and you can drop some lemon yellow into that as well. Clean brush, scrape it on the side a couple of times. Into the dark blue, I'm using Payne's Grey, and I am just dropping a bit of colour in. This is just pushing that into the yellow slightly, not too much, otherwise you'll end up with green. And the same with the sea here, just some nice lines. I'm going to move it to the side so that I can get them straight, and just push it into the yellow, but don't jiggle it about. And now we leave that to dry, but before we let it dry completely, we have a look for any hard edges. So I'm looking around the top of my sky and just blending them in using my brush. So moving this round, I've got some here and I've got some here. Got a lot there, so I'm just going to give that a little bit of a blot using the edge of a kitchen towel. I'm also going to just make some white lines. I'm blotting the paint up so that it looks like the sun shimmering on it. Blending it out, watching that yellow doesn't and the blue doesn't mix. Blending the yellow away over the edges. I've got water there, which I can pick up with my brush. I'm dabbing my brush onto the tissue to dry it off so that I can blend it all in. So it doesn't look, oh, I can see some at the top there. I need a bit more water because this one's getting a bit dry. And between each brush, I'm dabbing it on my tissue just to, and then there's water over here. That Not too good down this end here. Yes, just give it a bit of a wiggle. And then go in with the tissue. That will do for at the moment. I'm going to let this dry for a good 5 minutes. Well, that's been about 5 minutes. I'm mostly dry and there's a little bit just here that I'm going to be careful of. So we'll start now on the silhouettes of the buildings. I'm using Payne's Grey, which is Winsor & Newton, and it's blue. So, but indigo is fine. Dark blue is what you want. So I'm going to start over here. This side is more in the shadow. I'm going to mix my paint on my brush. So that's a little of the blue and then some of the pink just rubbed in together, not entirely. Then wash the brush back to the blue. I'm using a fair amount of water. It's not soaking wet. And up on this dome here. We can always darken this later, so I just going to do a light wash to start off with, up to the lines, painting by numbers. Wash my brush. I've got a lot of blue on that. So start to put a little bit of the pink in. This is the rhodonite, Daniel Smith's rhodonite. And I'm putting it where the sun, the rising sun, would be catching on the coming in from the east. I shall darken that up later and let that sit there. And just following across then, really, just a little bit of the blue. Don't forget that dome in there. We'll do the minarets later. Pushing the blue across. Now going back to the pink, I'm just going to put a pink dot in that one and across on here. Pushing that across, because these buildings here are lighter. I've got a cauliflower starting there, and I don't want a cauliflower on my dome, so I'm going to blot it up and then sort it out later. Too much water, which is strange. So the skyline goes up and down. I don't know what all these are, but it goes up and down. I'm going to let this dry a little because I want to redo this dome, and I put a little bit more of the blue in. But I'm quite happy with the way that it's separated out and that it's blended in, but not entirely. It's not as a sunset silhouette, which is fairly harsh, but a sunrise silhouette. Now I'm just going to try a little drop of the blue in there. Just pulling it across, blending it down. And clean water, not too much water, and just pull it up and blend it in. Now, I do want this to be fairly light because the sun is striking that full on. It's got to there. So it's going to be reflecting. So I'm just blending it over. It dried a bit, so needs to be helped. I'm still not happy with that side of the dome, so I'm just going to give it a little bit more. Blend in. I've got pink in places. If I need it, I'm going to have a little bit more pink there. Give it a little agitate because we've got a bit dry now. And then blend away any edges. So there's one or two little places that I want the skyline to be more defined. Testing, of course, to make sure that they're dry and not going to bleed. So I'm just going to give that a little bit more oomph and that. So using my rigger, I put some of the dark blue in, and then I'm blending it away. It's just to give it a little bit more oomph. And this poor tower here has completely lost its shape. So I'm just giving that a little bit of a tidy up. And blend the dark away. I'm going to put a dark line down the inside of that one. Blend it across. And away. Try and preserve some of the pink that you put in to start off with. I'm going to do this dome here with a little bit of the blue, just half the dome, and it's got a spike on the top. And again, I'm just going to blend it away. Try and preserve the pink that's on the other side, the other half. And this one too, this one's not got a nice straight or defined line. So again, blend it away into the rest of the paint work. And this dome here, we've got a lot of domes. It's got a spike, that one's got a spike, that's got a spike. And blend that away. And I'm going to go and do the same with the pink, particularly on this one because it seems to have missed out a lot. So I'm just putting in the dome, clean brush, fairly dry, and just dampen it in. This one, just a case of looking where you've not got the nice clean line of that you want. And something awful's happened to this one. So I'm going to put a blue line there. He's going to have to change his shape a bit because still not right. A bit more blue paint. Let's not be weak-willed about this. Weak painted anyway. There. So that's about it for the buildings. Because of the light, it sort of accidentally, I suppose, has gone light just there, which is fine. I'm happy with that. I'm just going to put in a more distinct edge to that building there. These, it sort of looks as if there's bushes in that in front, which I think there is, from memory serves me correctly. And more distinct line there. You see, you can fiddle with this for days until you got so far that you've forgotten what you were painting. Okay, so I'm going to leave that to dry for about 5 minutes. Then we're going to do the minarets. So 5 minutes and we'll be back. Hi, so we're back and I'm going to turn my paper around and I'm going to start with the minarets. So clean brush, it's a rigger brush, and I'm going to do this one first, and I'm going to paint this with water. So up the pillar, around these cups, and up to there. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of the blue paint, and I'm just going to drop it in. And it just gently, so gently, just drop it in. And the water takes it. Hi, so we have sorted out one or two of the little problems that we had with actual definition of skyline. There's one there that I don't like, and there's one there. So get the brush, just pull it in. And now we're going to do the next minaret. So clean brush, water on brush, and paint the minaret in water. This one's got 3 cups on it. I don't know what the architectural name is. Then a little bit of the blue, just dropped into that water, and it will follow the line that you painted on with the water. And I quite like to put a little bit of the pink in, just a couple of dabs of the pink, just to reflect the morning light. So same with the next one, making sure you don't put your hand on the top. So the water goes up, and this one's got a big cup. Again, water, paint just dropped in, the blue paint. Just dropped in, and a little bit of the pink. And the last one, oops, too much water. So paint it in water all the way up to the top. Paint the cups. Pick up some of the blue paint, drop it in right up to the top. And then a little bit of the pink, just drop that in, and it will just pick up. And I didn't do the pink in this one, so I'm going to put a little bit more blue on. And it has, and then drop some pink in it. Now, do not lift your paper up to make it move, to make it run. Otherwise, you'll have paint all over the place. Whilst that is drying, it goes back again. I'm going to do one of the seagulls, and this is done exactly the same way. I'm using a rigger, exactly the same way as the buildings. I'm going to start off with a bit of the dark blue. Then I'm going to have a bit of the rhodonite, pink as I've been calling it. Then that comes out across there, that's got that there, and across there. It's got a lump there, which I think is the bottom. And then pull it out to the end of the wing. Now we can always darken him up, change if it's too pink or too mauve or whatever, you can always darken it up at a later time. Make sure you've got the head silhouette right. So that's the first one. Then we've got this one here to do. So again, I start off with Payne's grey. It'll be dark at the end of his tail. I'm going to do some tail feather light down the bottom there. Coming up, a little bit of the rhodonite to mix in. And we've got a wing. And the top of this wing will be lightest because he's flying towards the sun. So I'm just putting a little bit of pink in there along that top line, and then I'm going to use the blue underneath. Comes out. If it mixes in, don't worry. Right. That's quite dark. Hope that dries lighter. Okay, so this wing here, so again, I'm going to use the bottom bit there, the blue. This top bit of the wing is going to be the rhodonite, and then I'm going to let it bleed together. And you've got rhodonite along that edge there, and blue along this one here. He's also got some feathers, so again, I'm just sort of doing little lines to show the feathers. And then a little bit more blue right to the end. There. Now he's got his feet out, so we need to do his feet. My goodness, that is bright. Never mind, it'll dry. We can darken it down. I'm going to do, oh, too much water. Right, tissue time. Okay. Just want paint. Right. His leg. And their feet go backwards whilst they're flying. They sort of drag them. And I've got a big blob, so more tissue time. Soak it up. That's it. I'll sort that out in it. Now we've got a seagull just behind here, so I'm going to move the paper. He's got a wing coming out of behind this one there, which goes off. And there. I'm hoping this seagull in front of him is dry enough. And then he's got another wing that comes out and goes behind this one. Then he's got a body, which is represented by just a little sort of half circle. I really don't want this guy as pink as this. I'm just going to drop some of my dark blue in where he is. And just blend it away a bit. Thirsty brush and just blend it back into itself. Just picking up some paint with my brush so that I'm lightening him slightly. I really don't want him as dark as he is. Okay, so we've got the seagulls in. We've got the minarets in. Look a little bit crooked. And now all that's left really are the shadows. I marked a mirror image on here, hopefully so that I could see where to go. So first of all, I'm going to do the minarets. They don't start immediately there, because this wall. So I'm just wiggling a line. And that's got two bits across. So brush into the blue, pick up some paint. This one, he starts about the same place. It's not so tall, about there, and his bit is lower down. Clean brush. Before it dries, just go through it with clean water on your rigger brush. Not pressing too hard, just so that it blurs it out a bit. Clean brush. Not too much water, but enough to move. Don't want too many lines, but just enough to see that they can move. Okay, so the next one. So that starts a bit further up, and it's about there. wiggly line. Oh, it's got 3, and that one is as tall as this one. So it's got 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then this last one, he starts about there. Wiggly line. We've got 1, 2. So clean brush, not too much water, and just pull the water through. Paintbrush through the, not too much. Just water. Whoa, just water. So that's the minarets in. We've got a dome over here, and again I've marked on in my water where the dome is going to be. So I'm just doing little lines into the shape of that dome. And it's got a tower next to it. So again, and then pull your lines through. With clean water on your brush. And I've extended that shadow out because there'll be a shadow of those buildings. In fact, we should actually do a line along here to represent that shadow all along. That's bled nicely because I had water on there. So I'm going to put water along this bit. Get some of the blue. Water again. You want to leave a little space between the buildings or the shoreline and the water, she says, not having done so just there. Okay, so the big mosque here, you can do exactly the same. Just a little bit of water on your brush with some of the blue paint. Horizontal lines, small lines to fill the shape of the dome. And I think that this here is terrible. It bothers me. So, it bothers me, put it right. So I've outlined it with the blue. And then blended it in. I'm happier now. And the same with this one here. Outlined it with the blue. Just a damp brush. And blend it in. Is there anything else that says, oh my God, Yeah, this tower. Not as crisp as it could be. So that's a damp brush and blend it in. So I've fiddled a little bit more, but I am happy now. I've fiddled with minarets, I've fiddled with roof lines, and now I'm going to call it a day. I'm going to sign it. And that is that. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this. It's simple, it looks complicated, and people do go, "Ooh, wow," at the end of it all. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.